Madman Across the Water was Elton John's fourth studio album, following Tumbleweed Connection and preceding Honky Chateau, coming out in 1971. It's an introspective album, and the liner notes say it is Elton's most undervalued LP. Is it a concept album? That's a good question. Well, to me, most of the songs on the album have a serious mood to them. And that would tend to suggest that they're written as a group, performed as a group, and we're supposed to see them as relating to each other. It lacked hit singles. Levon was a single from it, reaching number 24 in the US, and Tiny Dancer in the US as well, not even getting that high. There were no UK singles from this album. Mainly session musicians were used to fill out the sound, 10 backing vocalists, and the orchestral arrangements from the maestro Paul Buckmaster. Now then, I've got it as a vinyl, as you can see here, but I've also got it as a CD, except the CD has exactly the same tracks on it as the vinyl. No bonus tracks here because no other songs were recorded during these sessions. Let's just have a look at the vinyl album there. A kind of denim looking cover to it. Stylishly done, all in the same style. Inside the gatefold, a bit disappointing. Just pictures there of Elton. Could have been a bit more detail there. And on the back, again, stitched to effect the track listing. And when we pull out the sleeve, oh dear, look at this. No lyrics at all. Now, it may be that those have been lost at some stage, but I bought this new, and it's very disappointing to buy vinyl and not have a lyric sheet. Anyway, let's get on to the track-by-track analysis of this album. And it opens with this song. See if you recognise this introduction. That, of course, was the unmistakable piano intro to Tiny Dancer, a relatively unknown track when it came out. And it was only in the year 2000 that it started to pick up pace when it was featured in a film called Almost Famous. And in 2015, John Lewis featured it in one of their advertisements. Ever since then, everyone's been quite rightly raving about this track. Rolling Stone magazine list it as number 397 out of their 500 greatest songs of all time, and who can argue with that? The song, written by Bernie Taupin, the lyrics, and it's dedicated to his wife Maxine, who was a dancer. Look at these lyrics, or listen to them. Pretty-eyed, pirate smile, you'll marry a music man. They're intensely personal. Looking on, she sings the songs, the words she knows, the tune she hums. Well, of course she'd know the words because she's married to the wordsmith himself. It's beautiful music. It builds up very slowly, and it takes over 2 minutes to actually get to the refrain, which is quite unusual for an Elton John song. But it's worth waiting. When we get to the refrain, it's a really good sing-along chorus that you can imagine a crowd joining in with. It's featured, of course, in the Rocket Man movie, and again, beautifully done. It fits in so well to that story of Elton John's own life. It has a kind of otherworldly quality to it. It's majestic and it's powerful, and the harmonies are beautiful as it builds up. So we're going to award this track a very sound 8 out of 10, and it's a great start to the album. It's also covered, by the way, on the covers revamp CD by Florence and the Machine. Not as good as the Elton John original on this occasion, but it's still worth listening to. So what a great start to the album. We move on to track number 2. This also has a very accomplished piano intro. Take a listen to this. Yes, this is the start of Levon, the second track on the album. This is about a man stuck in a rut. There's been some suggestion that the lyric bases Levon on Levon Helm from the band, which was one of Elton and Bernie's favourite bands at the time, although there's some doubt about that. It tells the story about the son of Alvin Tostiger, who was born on Christmas Day, becomes successful and wants to leave. There's some interesting lyrics here, fantastic lyrics. He was born a pauper to a pawn on a Christmas day when the New York Times said God is dead and war's begun. Alvin Tostig, or Tostiger, as I've heard, has a son today. Now, in an interview, Bernie has said that this was just free-form writing. It doesn't actually mean anything at all. He said they're just lines that came out that were interesting. Well, fair enough. A lot of songs are like that. What we have here, though, is a fantastic melody and harmony from Elton. This is such an accomplished song, so powerful, so well delivered in his lyric. I just love this song. Great orchestral accompaniment as well. You could possibly argue that it's a little bit too intense, a little bit too dominant with the strings there. But for me, this is a great track from a great era when Elton was writing these sort of songs. Tiny Dancer and Levon, what a start to an album. And this one, which was covered by John Bon Jovi, by the way, on the Two Rooms album. This one I'm going to award almost by best mark, 9 out of 10. I don't award this very often, but this song is so good, it deserves it. Well, can they keep up this really high level of songwriting with the third track? Well, unfortunately not, although it's not too disappointing. Track 3 is Razor Face, which features Rick Wakeman on organ, by the way. There's a sort of a countryish atmosphere to this story, which is about a homeless man who's had a tough life. He's a heavy drinker. He's got a razored, weathered face. It almost feels like a live performance, this. Very tight band. There's sort of a country atmosphere to the song. It's not going to go down in the top 10 or top 20 of Elton's songs, but it's a perfectly decent album track. And we're going to award this 4 out of 10. Remember, these ratings are just for fun, and we all love all of Elton's songs, of course. It's just that some are better than others, in our opinions. So, 4 out of 10. Track 4 also has a memorable start. See if you can remember this one. Yes, track 4 is Madman Across the Water. What a start to this album. We've got 3 great tracks out of 4 here. A really dark mood. Some suggested this song was about Nixon in the White House, although this has been denied. But it's certainly a portrayal of mental disturbance. It's about people going to visit somebody who's in some sort of asylum. There's a spooky arrangement from Buckmaster here. The orchestra plays a really strong part in this track. Although Elton's piano, as you can hear from that start, really beautiful throughout, and really sets that mysterious tone, quite threatening tone for the whole song. Just listen to these lyrics. Is the nightmare black, or are the windows painted? What a fantastic line there from Bernie Taupin. There's a worrying, powerful atmosphere to this. It creates pictures in your mind as you're listening to this. This is not a forgettable song. This is going to stick in your mind, and this is going to take you to that situation that Bernie is describing and Elton is painting with the music. So this is another piece of sheer class here, covered by Bruce Hornsby on the Two Rooms album as well. That's worth listening to. He chose that song I was reading about because he admired it so much and it inspired him. We're going to give this a really good score. That's 9 out of 10 for Madman Across the Water. So that's the end of the first side. Only 4 tracks, so a little bit shortchanged. But what 4 tracks we've got. And the marks were 8, 9, 4 and 9, giving us 30 marks from only 4 pieces of music. Is this Elton's best ever side of vinyl? That's for you to decide. I would say it's one of the best I've come across so far in these reviewing videos. Well, as you know, in some of my videos, I'm quite critical of some of the songs not really delivering value for money. But this is just astonishing on this album because side 2 opens with Indian Sunset. I'm just going to give you the opening lyrics from this. As I awoke this evening with a smell of wood smoke clinging, like a gentle cobweb hanging upon a painted teepee. Now, this sort of poetic song is about Geronimo. It tells the story of a warrior who is ordered by his chief to lay down his weapons. And it's episodic. It's like something from a musical. It takes you through different stages, but they all work well together. It's not like a disjointed song like Tower of Babel. These all complement each other, building to a fantastic climax on this. For me, this is almost the perfect song. Great lyric, great tune from Elton. He starts singing almost unaccompanied, a little bit of instrumental in the background there. Then he's unaccompanied for a while, and then it comes in with the piano. Beautiful harmonies as he's setting this, and it's dramatic. There's an emotional vocal. You really feel part of the story again. It's dramatic and engaging and satisfying. I find the ending just a little bit too sudden. It's just cut off in mid-air. I would have liked that to resolve a little bit more. But please go and listen to this track. You know, this is just brilliant, and you can imagine how good this would be in a live performance, perhaps with some projected images over the background, or Elton just in spotlight starting this dramatic song. We're going to give this one 9 out of 10, putting it up there with the very greatest and most accomplished Elton tracks. Well, things changed a little bit with track number 6 because this is Holiday Inn, and this is about the drudgery of travelling on the road in America, where all the hotels seem to be the same. There's sort of a tumbleweed feel to this one as well, and there's some nice mandolin work there from Davy Johnson on this, sort of a folky sound. Does it fit with what's come before on this album? And I would say no, it doesn't really. So what is it doing here? And also the subject matter of this song. Rock stars complaining about staying in a lot of hotels. Are we really that sympathetic about this story? You know, if you're working in a call centre or some drudgery office job, or down a coal mine or whatever, do you really want to hear rock stars complaining about their hotels? Not particularly. This song, it's not offensive, but it's a little bit of a fish out of water for me on this album, and we're going to give it a 4 out of 10. Track number 7 is called Rotten Peaches, which is sort of an appeal to the Almighty from a slave or from an escaped prisoner. And of course we see that theme also with Have Mercy on a Criminal from the Don't Shoot Me album. That's a really good track as well. Rick Wakeman is in the mix on this one. A drug addict has sort of found religion while fleeing from the law, and in prison he'd picked rotten peaches. It's a lively melody, it's a lively performance. It's not as involving a story as we've seen on things like Madman or Levon. Nevertheless, it's an improvement on Holiday Inn. It's a competent song and a decent recording, but again, it's not one of those that's going to go into Elton's top flight. We're going to give that one 5 out of 10. Track number 8 on the album is called All the Nasties. This has kind of a gospel flavour to it. This is an attack on music critics, rock critics in particular. And it's one of those sort of messages that we see cropping up quite a lot in songs. Elton's already done this on Heart in the Right Place, hasn't he? And Van Morrison, whom I do like, but he does this a lot as well, putting songs together, criticising the press and things. It's a little bit of a tired message now, to be honest, and we want something a little bit more creative to satisfy on this. Possibly a little bit overproduced, this one. Very crowded in what's going on there. It's got an angry feel to it, quite a good mood, and I would say this one does fit with the rest of the songs on the album, unlike Holiday Inn. So we're going to give this one 5 out of 10. Now the last track, track 9, is called Goodbye. This is almost a solo by Elton with the piano, just a few strings coming in. It's a brief, melancholic ballad about unrequited love. It's emotive, it's sorrowful, it's moving. You can really feel those emotions going through this performance. It fits ideally with things like Madman and Levon. And Elton here is a million miles away from some of the kind of glam rock performances he did dressed as a duck and in other ridiculous costumes, which to me just demean his music a little bit in a way, and I'm not particularly bothered about, but they were of their time, of course. But a beautiful piece of music to finish with. You only get 1 minute and 48 seconds of this. It could have taken another minute of this, I think. But it's raw, and it shows just the skill goes into this sort of songwriting. What a great time this was. What a great creative time it was. So this one is going to get 7 out of 10. Now, if we look at the second side there of this vinyl, that scores 30 as well, mainly because of two really strong tracks, Indian Sunset and Goodbye. But the ones in between are still pretty good as well. So there's nothing really low on this album, nothing lower than a 4. And that shows in its overall mark, because we end up with 60 marks from 9 tracks on this, giving it an average of 6.67 per track. So let's have a look at my current Elton John album rankings. Remember, I'm going to be ranking all of his studio albums. Madman has taken a lead, and quite a comfortable lead, over Blue Moves. Third is The Fox. Fourth is Captain Fantastic. Then Too Late for Zero and Jump Up at the moment at the bottom of this league. Now let's have a look at the top ranked songs there, and you can see Madman supplies 3 top ranking songs: Levon, Indian Sunset and Madman. Not far behind is Tiny Dancer. So a really good time for Elton's music here, giving us so many tracks near the top of my current league table. And let's have a look at the bottom of the league table. Madman not contributing anything at all to the bottom of this table. It shows what such a good album it is. We've still got Tower of Babel, I Am Your Robot and Heart in the Right Place way down there with 1 out of 10. So I hope you enjoyed my review. I welcome your comments. Please feel free to disagree with me. We're all Elton fans. We love his music. Some of us like some songs more than others. Subscribe if you want to know when I post my regular videos on Elton's albums. All the best to you, and don't forget, we're still standing.